Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're zeroing in on something you've probably seen or maybe even, experienced yourself. That's sometimes, well, surprisingly toxic side of gaming fan bases.
Right.
We've got a really interesting piece to work with here. It's a podcast script called Gaming's Most Toxic Fan Bases: When Passion Turns to Poison.
Okay.
And it features two hosts, Alex and Jamie, and they kind of scratch the surface of why these communities can sometimes, well, go sideways.
Exactly. And this isn't just like a casual thing about a few grumpy players online.
Right.
We're going to actually dig into what's driving this negativity,
Yeah.
and what the real world consequences look like.
Right.
Our goal really is to give you a clearer picture of why it happens, moving beyond just saying, oh, it's just a few bad apples.
Yeah, dismisses it too easily. Okay, so let's jump right in. The script, it starts by asking, what even is toxicity here?
Good question.
Jamie brings up stuff like aggressive trash talk, that whole gatekeeping thing you sometimes see. But Alex puts it quite concisely, I thought. Describes it as that intense passion we have for games, twisting into actual hostility.
That makes sense. Passion turning sour.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking more than just like competitive banter. It's bullying, harassment,
Right.
and even those really extreme cases like threats over game updates. Have you seen that kind of thing escalate?
Oh, definitely. And what's interesting there is that line, isn't it, where enthusiasm just flips into something genuinely harmful.
Yeah.
The script's clear that, look, some competition, some disagreement, that's normal, right?
Sure.
But toxicity is like a definite step beyond that. Alex's example, the death threats over balance changes. That really hits home how extreme it can get.
It really does.
It makes you wonder about the disconnect some people have between the game, the screen, and the actual humans making and playing it.
Totally. And it's important, Alex points this out too, most gaming communities are actually great. Supportive, positive places.
That's a key point. We're not painting everyone with the same brush.
No, absolutely not. We're focusing on that maybe smaller but often louder segment where things do kind of go off the rails.
Right, those vocal instances.
Now, the script immediately brings up one game often mentioned here, League of Legends.
Ah, yes. LOL.
Jamie even jokes that mid or feed isn't just like internet slang. It's almost part of the culture there.
Oh,
Does that ring true from what you've seen?
Well, if you think about it, League often comes up because it mixes together several things that can, well, create friction.
Like what?
The script mentions a few, like the really high stakes in every single match.
Okay, yeah.
The fact you absolutely need your teammates to play well, that reliance.
Huge reliance.
And then there's just the stress of ranked play, Your progress is always on the line.
Constantly measured.
And then you add the anonymity of being online on top of all that.
Ah, the anonymity factor.
Yeah, it can create this situation where people just feel less inhibited. They say things they wouldn't normally say.
Like the internet lowers our usual social filters somehow.
Exactly. It's like that distance emboldens people.
Yeah, that digital mask idea.
Yeah.
It definitely feels key. It lets some people say things, well, things they'd never say face to face.
Probably not, no.
And the script has a short little toxic moment skit. It's brief, but it really captures the flavor of it.
Hell yeah.
You hear someone just explode like, OMG, NOB jungle never ganks.
Sighs slightly, the classic blame game.
Right. And the instant comeback is just sarcastic, like, sorry, busy farming your mom's approval.
Oof. Yeah.
Shite. It's quick, it's nasty, and sadly, it's the kind of thing a lot of players will just instantly recognize. Have you been on the receiving end of that kind of stuff?
Oh, sure. I think most people who play competitive online games have seen it. And that kind of exchange, it raises a really important point the script moves to next, its impact. It goes beyond just, someone's feelings getting hurt for a moment.
Right.
Jamie brings up the developers getting actual death threats.
Yeah. That's a huge escalation.
It really is. And it just highlights this warped view some people develop, where their passion for a game somehow justifies that level of aggression towards the creators.
It makes you wonder about the psychology there, that entitlement to react so extremely entertainment.
Exactly. What's going on there?
And it's not just the devs taking the heat, right?
Not at all. Alex mentions players quitting games they actually like just to get away from the negativity.
Just to avoid it. Wow.
And then there's that really sad example of the Overwatch pro player had to retire because of just relentless harassment.
That's a real-world consequence, a massive personal cost. Someone's career, their passion, just ended by online toxicity.
Yeah. And streamers, too, Alex mentions them. Facing this constant barrage of hate, it must be incredibly draining mentally, emotionally.
Exhausting, I'd imagine.
These examples really show that toxicity isn't just, isolated blow-ups. It can cast a chill over the whole gaming space. Well, it can put new players off joining, makes current players feel unwelcome, even stops developers from engaging with their own communities because they fear the backlash.
That's a real shame. Cuts off valuable interaction.
It does. But, the script does offer some hope. It acknowledges the vital role of community moderators.
Right, the mods.
And also the positive players out there who are actively trying to counter all this negativity.
That's important to remember.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even if the toxic voices seem loud, they don't actually represent everyone in the community.
Definitely. Jamie gives a much-needed shout-out to those people working to make things better, which is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's easy to just focus on the bad stuff, but loads of people are genuinely trying to improve these communities.
True.
And when the script looks at potential solutions, a few interesting ideas pop up. Better in-game reporting tools get a mention.
That seems practical. Yeah. Makes sense.
And then there's Alex's slightly more, well, unconventional idea about everyone just taking a deep breath and maybe stepping away to touch some grass.
Well, I chuckle. The touch glass solution.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, obviously.
A little bit.
But it actually points to something real, doesn't it? Like perspective. The importance of sometimes just detaching from that intense in-game pressure.
Stepping back, yeah.
On a more practical note, though, the script really underlines how much fostering positive behavior matters.
Wow.
Jamie suggests just being the teammate who types GG, good game at the end, win or lose.
Such a small thing.
It is small, but imagine if that kind of basic sportsmanship just became the norm. It could really shift the whole vibe of interactions.
Yeah, little positive actions adding up.
It makes you wonder what other small things could have that kind of ripple effect,
Definitely. So wrapping this up for our listeners, this deep dive, using this podcast script as a guide, it really shows that passion in gaming is amazing, right?
Absolutely. It drives so much creativity and community.
But it can, unfortunately, sometimes curdle into really harmful behavior. We've looked at how that toxicity appears, some of the reasons behind it, the stakes, anonymity, all that.
And the very real consequences.
Yeah.
For developers, players, streamers.
Yeah, the real impact. But we also touched on the fact that, people are working on it. There are positive forces and potential solutions being talked about.
And maybe as we finish, it makes us think a bit wider, too. How do these dynamics we see in gaming, how might they reflect what happens in other online groups?
Or even just other areas of life where people get really, really invested in something.
Yeah, that intensity. Where's that line between healthy, passionate engagement and behavior that actually starts to cause harm? Doesn't matter if it's games or sports or politics or anything else.
That's a really good question to ponder.
It's maybe worth thinking about how each of us can, try to build more positive, more constructive environments, both online and just, well, everywhere else.